Well, it's day 2 here at the Sea Otter Classic, and as you can see, it's absolutely massive, so we're not going to struggle to find you even more tech. Where are you off to, Doddy?
Well, we're on the roof of the park tool stand at the moment. Not sure they know that, but I'm going to go downstairs and geek out with tools.
Well, I'm going this way.
All right,
Bye!
see you in a bit. Now, you might not know this, but Park Tool make approximately 5 million tools. Completely made that number up, of course, but there's always new tools on the board. Now, you might have seen similar tools to this being used by pro World Cup mechanics around the scene. Now, of course, they're basically making tools out of necessity for specific jobs out there. So it's really cool to see tools like this in a mass market range that any consumer can benefit from. So you've got a pad spacing tool here, which has got a slight profile to it, enabling you to both push the pads apart in case you squeeze the lever together and drive them together, but also to separate the pistons. So that is a great tool anyway. But this is just a further accentuation on that for fine tuning. Of course, that is like the same equivalent of having a bit of disc rotor, which would be like 1.85mm thick. So basically for doing the exact same job, but in a more refined approach. Cool to see that, and I think that's quite a nice nod to World Cup mechanics out there. Now, you've also got these DTD 8 and 10, so these are the tiny little Torx keys. Now, if you've ever worked on SRAM brakes, you'll need those tiny ones, and of course you can have dedicated Torx keys for doing this stuff, but they're always a little bit fiddly with these tiny little ones. So these are absolutely ideal. I'll definitely be adding a couple of those to my collection. Of course, it might not be suitable for you, but that's a super nice from me. And lastly, this is an old Goldie, the best spork you can get. That is it, right up there. So if you want to bike pack in, if you want to eat your salad box at lunch, whatever you take your fancy, get one of them, you won't need another one. And rumour has it, you can open bottles with them as well. Well, I can.
There's some amazing Konas here, all like custom build. That's a Team Kona over there. And look at this, check this out. This is clearly inspired by golf racing colours here. That's caught my eye because I've actually been in the GT40 in this paint job. So this is obviously celebrating the dream builds. Kona always celebrate people who custom design their frames and they like share them on social and give them a little iron-on patch, which I think is really cool. So the golf racing process obviously caught my eye at first, but this is one of those subtle, amazing custom colors, which is this gloss black with rainbow glitter in it, and it's everywhere. It's over the forks, the crowns, on these one-up bars here. Even these carbon rims have been sprayed up in the same thing. It's got the Push 11.6, and this is an older model. This is 2018 anyway, but it's just so cool, and that's why they've put it on the stand, and I completely agree with them. What a bit of bling.
Okay, so a little while back we reported on the punk powder from Muck-Off. So essentially, excuse me from holding my phone, I need this for the numbers I'm about to tell you. So one of these little sachets will make 1 litre of Muck-Off. So that's the regular sized bottle that you would get. Now the whole concept is you buy the sachets, you get the bottle, and you keep using the same bottle, yeah? So you're saving on packaging, you're saving on plastics. Now I've just found out some numbers, what they save by doing this. So check this out. So it's part of their Project Green initiative because they essentially just want to reduce everything they possibly can. So punk powder they're saving on 1,132 bottles a day, which is 11,476 a week by making this. That's how few bottles they're making. That's 38 articulated lorries completely full. Now here's a little stat for you. You can get 10,000 bottles of Muck-Off on one lorry that would leave the depot, or 69,000 of these. How good is that for the environment? I'm just absolutely blown away by that. Sorry about the phone. Not the most pro moment, but I think you'll understand with numbers like that. This has got to be the craziest looking bike at Sea Otter 2022. I don't think I've seen anything this custom pretty much ever. So we've seen a lot of custom painted frames. This one's done by Technar, a company that are based in Moab. I've got to go and see these guys. This is just bonkers. So this belongs to the owner of the company, and everything on here is painted. MV stem, MV carbon bars, obviously the frame, the fork, the whole lot. That's over 40 hours of work, and that's not including prepping a frame to get it like this. And then also check the cranks out. It's got the 5-dev cranks. You might have seen them on Nico Mullally's bike. The 5-dev pedals as well, and it's also got i9 hubs on there that are also custom painted. Literally everything you can customise is done. And you might notice it's also got those Vitas all mounting tyres, the little colour speckles in them. How insane is this? Oh, you probably haven't noticed the shock either. Probably the most bonkers shocks you can get. Push 11.6.
We have some brand new wheels from Industry 9 here. This is the 1/1 Ultralight 250 carbon, which is available in 29-inch or 700C for gravel riders out there. It's the 1/1 hub, which has 90 points of engagement. It's entry level, so it's trying to make a set of wheels in carbon more affordable for the market. We have a 25mm internal rim, 24 spokes as well. And what's super interesting about this is it's a lifetime warranty and lifetime crash replacement. So if you do crack these rims, then you can send them back to Industry 9 to have them replaced.
So something we often talk about on GMBN is the development of bikes. Now you might have seen the range being ridden before by the Gehrig sisters at EWS races, and it's obviously extremely popular and really on point as well, running that high pivot with the idler wheel there. So obviously the effect of that is you want a bit of rearward axle growth there. The problem with running a bike like that is you get problems with your chain tension and your chain length. So to manage that, they run the chain over the top, essentially to make it pedal a bit more like a low pivot bike. A bit more to it than that, of course. We're experimenting with the pivot height, the size of the idler wheel, and the ultimate gain really is to try and get the bike to get the best in terms of anti-squat and anti-rise. But look back here and you can see the different styles of where they've come from. So this would have been a working prototype once they finalised the kinematics. Kind of think of it as a proof of concept. They need to make sure the bike works. Skipping back this way a little bit, you've got a rapid prototype. So this one would have come off the back of all the CAD and the design work and that, essentially to make sure that everything actually works and things align correctly. Now, of course, you can do this in the computer programming, but sometimes it's always better to have that rapid prototype so you can physically see these things and you can start ironing out any issues that might have occurred. But this is the one that really interests me. So this is a working prototype from the beginning when they're trying to refine everything. Now up front you might see it's got a massive hedgy one and a span one, and this of course was designed so you could change the reach of the bike to get the sizing correct. And if you look down here a little bit closer, you'll see the pivot points and obviously the rear wheel axles, they're all adjustable. Everything on this was adjustable to try and get the suspension kinematics exactly right. Now, of course, you've got anti-squat and you've got anti-rise. Anti-rise being the effects of braking on the suspension. Now, some brands want it to be quite neutral. Some brands want it to squat down for different effects on the suspension. And, of course, you've got the anti-squat of how much the bike resists bogging down, essentially, when you're pedaling hard. But all of that is ironed out on top of the design package with a working prototype like that. I mean, these things are the coolest things in my eyes. Of course, the production one is beautiful. It's not even a comparison, but this is what I love, the working prototypes to get the job done. What do you think of prototype bikes? You like them as much as me, or am I just a bit mad?
So I'm here with George at Camelback, and I'm super excited about this because I've been a lifelong user of Camelback bladders, and I've actually previously used the Lifestraw filtration system, but this is a little different, isn't it? So tell me a bit about it.
Well, for us, we wanted to create a completely integrated system, and obviously when it comes to purity of water, you have to be very clean about that and hygienic. So this is our inline filter by Lifestraw. It is a two-stage hollow fiber membrane that goes through a carbon activated filter, plugs right into our reservoir kits. So you could run this into any of your established bladders that you already own, like you're saying you like. You could buy the kit, which gives all the components, and then next thing you know, you have everything you need to keep clean, filtered water with you on a ride, at a camp trip, any sort of outdoor activity. So it's really kind of cool, very hygienic system for us where everything just plugs and plays, and you're not having to like put together and kit everything like everybody does out, on their own.
Yeah, sure. Previously, I've kind of bodged the straw into your system. Now this is fully integrated, and seeing as it's all interchangeable with all your other bladders, I'm guessing we can take some of the bigger ones and use that as filtration in campsites. And
yeah, go from backpack to waist pack. Things you're going to have outside of any sort of pack products, like you say at the campsite. For us, it's a huge platform to be able to bring filtration throughout all of our water storage. So it's fabulous.
I mean, as someone who bike packs and does some enduro in the Alps, this is really exciting that you can just take water out of anywhere and be nice and safe. And you've also got the carbon filter as well.
So the first stage gets all your microbiomes and things you just don't want in there, but then the carbon filter is the second stage up top, and it removes some of the heavy metals, odor and taste, the things that depending on your water source you never really know. It's just an extra point where all of a sudden it's absolute clean water no matter where you're riding and having fun.
Ace, that's brilliant. Thank you, George.
Cool.
I literally cannot get enough tech. So you might be aware that I went to see Vitas bikes over in Belfast fairly recently for GMBN. Went riding with a crew over there, and one of the coolest things about working with them was the entire team are riders, and all they're trying to do is build the best bikes that they would actually ride. Now this one's a prototype. They won't actually tell me the model name on it. All they're saying is it's a trail bike, and I'll find out more soon. So it's got 140mm travel front and rear, I can tell you that. 65.5 degree head angle, and between 76.5 and 77 degrees on the seat angle. The back end feels almost identical to the bikes that I was riding out in Belfast, just obviously with a little bit less travel. Feels every bit as progressive, and hey, it's a prototype, isn't it? So it just looks raw and it looks really good. Apparently, I'm going to get to ride this later this year, so I'm really excited about this because I genuinely love what this company are doing. What do you think of this?
X-Fusion are dropping a bit of suspension newness with the MIG Boost and the MIG Boost here. And they're not new to the dropper game, but this is really, really new. This is the E-Manic series, if I can get this out. It's their first wireless dropper, which is 100 or 125, 150 or 170 mil dropper. You can recharge it. Up here you can plug it in and recharge it, but the battery is replaceable as well. So, and you can pick this up apparently in a hardware store. It's not X-Fusion specific, so that's really handy to know in terms of longevity. Now they've only got it in a 30.9 and 31.6 at the moment, but they will be bringing out other sizes later in the year. They've brought it here so that they can test it here in the States before dropping it later in the year. And what's also interesting about this is it's about $400, whereas competitors are around about $800, so they've managed to half the price there. So interesting. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. Obviously, I'm a tech nerd, so I couldn't walk past a tool tent, and here we've got Abbey tools, some of the most beautiful tools you'll ever see on the market. This is a chain whip and a cassette tool that fits inside each other. Now, I'm a massive fan of tools that can live really compact, and this cassette tool is hand welded steel, so it's a solid piece. You don't need to use a little piece and a big spanner, and you can have this in a titanium version if you want compact and light as well. And couldn't actually not say anything about the hanger alignment gauge here. It's so compact for aligning your derailleur hanger, and also this little prong here, it locks into place so you don't ever lose accuracy, and it's about the size of a small pump, so absolutely beautiful work here. Also brass bushing down here, which means that you can replace it. That brass bushing will wear out before any other part, which means it is a tool for life. Absolutely love that.
Tell you what, I am cooked. That was another awesome day at the Sea Otter Classic.
Yeah, it is so great to still see some prototypes turning up after everything that's happened in the last 2 years. That's amazing.
It is. There's surprisingly quite a few of them tucked away on little back stands. I've even seen some pre-production stuff as well that we couldn't actually shoot for the show, but you will find out about them soon. Dead keen to hear what you liked on what we saw today. I mean, that Vitas prototype is right up my street. Something about a raw alloy bike that does it. But yeah. Let us know down there.
And don't forget, we've got another day tomorrow, so keep watching.
More of the same. See you soon.